could you share some of the answers that the students have written?
So it seems like there is a demand for people who are selling, but not the people who are creating or inventing. You know,
Right
you're right here. Right here, he actually got banners and everything. You know, he.
Hello and welcome to the season 2 of Humans of IISERB and Aarambh original. I am Suhanee Korpe and I'll be your host today. So back in the pandemic 2020, when all of us were stuck in our homes, overwhelmed with quizzes and assignments, missing campus, a bunch of brilliant people had this budding idea that led to the most entertaining and most watched podcast in the history of IISERB. Owing to this success, we are back with season 2. We'll be interviewing your beloved seniors and batchmates and talk about their experiences, achievements, and their memorable times at the campus. For our season premiere, we have our guest, Shreeja Das, who's a postgraduate in physics and is currently pursuing her PhD under the ES department. We all know her as the nightingale of IISERB. For those who don't know her, especially the first year, you could hear her melodious voice at the ideation or CCD or even tune into her jamming session. There she is. Hello.
Hi, Johnny. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great.
You look really lovely in this dress.
And so do you. So do you.
Thank you. Let's have a seat.
Let's go.
So, how have you been?
I've been good. Are you asking for today or in general?
In general, how have you been?
I've been a little busy because I'm about to submit my thesis, so a little busy with that. But in general, good. Yeah.
So you're finally completing your PhD, you're submitting your thesis, you're
Yes.
putting an end to a 5-year academic journey. So how does it feel?
Okay, so initially I had thought, like when I started off the journey, there was so much of pressure and everything. So initially I thought, good riddance, like I'll be so happy when things get over. But now as the days literally come nearby, as my, going away time literally comes nearby, I'm getting more and more emotional. I'm having bouts of, emotional outbursts, especially because of the fact that, I'm going to leave behind really good memories.
Right.
So yeah, that is something which I did not expect, but yeah, that's what is happening right now.
Obviously, after 5 years, you will feel a bit emotional.
Yeah, I'm getting very emotional about leaving the campus. So yeah, that is.
But you must be also excited about the next part of your life and what you'll be doing next.
The show must always go on.
Right.
So yeah, definitely, I'm excited about the next phase. But yeah, it's always also the fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. So and it's also very rare, meeting friends, getting people who you really connect with. And this 5-year journey, I've met some amazing human beings, some amazing people. So yeah, that's something which I get very emotional about leaving behind.
Right.
But yeah, that's how life is probably.
Right. So talking about these last 5 years, so how has IISERB helped you? How has IISERB helped you evolve as an academician or a researcher?
Okay. So right. So if you ask me as an academician, when I entered here, like I was literally like a master's, pass out. I was working in IISER Pune for a couple of years, had a little bit of knowledge with how research generally goes on, but not really technically like a baby in the hierarchy of academics. Right. So I did not really know how to tackle a problem or how to approach a problem. When you're given any sort of research problem, you do not know how to go about it. Like you kind of fish for help all around you. But now, after the 5 year, I don't know what life is going to bring to me in the next phase, in the next phase of my research career. But I definitely know this, that be it any sort of problem, any research problem, I know how to at least proceed. I know how the itinerary will go on. First you do your literature review, interact with people in the same field. So I know how the proceedings are going to be, So this is something that I've become confident with dealing. And I know that, even if I do not know anything about the subject, I know that I'll find out. So that confidence is something that, I have evolved with, and I have gained progressively in the 5 years. Yeah.
Right. And also, you have done your postgraduate from Pune University in physics,
Yes.
and now you're doing your PhD in ES.
Right.
So how has that transition been for you?
The transition has not been very difficult. I'll tell you why. Because ES, I don't know if how many of you know this, but ES is actually a very interdisciplinary field. You know, so you have people from all over, all sorts of research areas. You have people from biology, mathematics, physics, computation, like computer science, all fields, because you need, it's a very vast field. It's a totally interdisciplinary field of science. So since I had a physics background, it kind of helped me with understanding certain concepts, certain fundamental concepts. So it kind of gave me like a boost. So yeah, of course, I learned a lot of geology in the process, which I did not know before. But yeah, that helped me. I mean, the department helped me with that. And yeah.
That's nice. So you have had an academic. You have chosen an academic career. So seeing your other friends, like you have seen, they must be working in industries or corporate.
Yeah.
They must be having corporate jobs.
Yeah.
And seeing them earn more. Like
Yes.
how has that affected you in the past 5 years?
Yes, that's a really good question, Suhanee, because yeah, that is something. Okay, you pricked at the right place. Okay. No, it's okay. It's an essential question, I feel, especially for people who have opted for a field such as ours, Okay, so the thing is, to answer your question, yeah, I have friends of mine who have, probably done a very, a rudimentary degree in, some subject, which is probably an engineering degree in any field, technically.
Or any college.
Any college, okay? And, after that, they've just gotten a job at a very, very basic company, and then they've done their MBAs, and they're getting a salary package of, probably a few lakhs per month. Okay, and they're also younger. Some of them are like younger than me as well. That actually, yes, to be very honest, it bothers me a lot, because certainly, they are the ones who are basically doing the finance part of stuff. They're advertising, they're advertising novel ideas, and we're the ones who are creating novel ideas, right? So it seems like there is a demand for people who are selling, but not the people who are creating or inventing. So that disparity is something that really bothers me. It really bothers me, and it should not just bother me. See, that the problem is bothering me or a few people. It should bother the people who are actually, in the administrative power. So if the time it starts affecting those people is the time when it is actually going to make a difference. And it's actually a little sad to see how underpaid, and underappreciated researchers, people in academics are, especially when we are directly contributing to the, science and technology of the country, or, as a matter of fact, globally. Yeah, that is something that bothers me. Yes, certainly it bothers me.
Yep. So deviating a bit from the academics. So how has your upbringing changed you and brought you up as the person you are today?
Oh my God, that's a very heavy question. Okay, but a good question. Okay, so I come from a very, academic background. My father is a professor of physics. My mother is a professor of, she's done her PhD in the field of biology. She was teaching in a medical college, all of that. So both of them are academicians, So I come from a family of academicians. My grandfather was a literature professor. So all of them are in the, academic line. Right. And my Nanaji was a doctor.
Oh my God.
that comes into. Yep. So, there was certainly an expectation from, my side that I would probably opt for something which is also, academic oriented. But of course I was given the freedom to pursue whatever I want. And so one thing that definitely has changed me is the fact that I was always I was made to imbibe the fact that being different is actually being good. Okay, so I was never made to fit into stereotypes. So this is something which actually has made me thrive in this particular field till date, because what happens is when you're supposed you try to fit into stereotypes. Right. You try to conform yourself according to what the society thinks. Society wants and the society thinks. And I was never basically made to conform. I will give you a small example with that. When I was a child, I was in KG. KG, yes, I guess KG or lower KG, somewhere there, or first, second, I don't really remember. This is then I was like, in junior school. So basically, there was a fancy dress competition, and of course, all the girls I was in the Loreto convent in Bombay. RCF colony. So, everyone was very excited. All the girls in my class were very excited. Oh, we get to be princess, we get to be this, we get to be that. So all of them with very pretty dresses, flowery, pretty, bejeweled dresses.
Right.
And I am actually, here I'm like, okay, what do I do? And especially both my parents were working. So, it was a little difficult to, go and bother them with that, because from a young age I knew that, okay, don't bother parents with unnecessary information. But what happened is the fact that I went and told my mother that I want to dress up, I want to take part in this fancy dress competition. And my mom said, okay, sure, let's dress you up as, how about Rani Lakshmi Bai, Jhansi ki Rani. And I was like, Jhansi ki Rani, but she doesn't have...
Everyone is dressing up as princesses.
Yeah, princesses. And of course, when you're a little child, you do want to look pretty, you want to look that way. But yeah, my mom made me, realize the fact that princesses don't, have literally their own say every time.
Right.
Jhansi ki Rani, on the other hand, she ruled, like she was a queen. Do you want to be a princess or do you want to be a queen, who rules, who basically can make a difference? And she fought, the Britishers so bravely. So my mom told me all these stories. And yeah, so that she kind of made me glorify Rani Lakshmi Bai as opposed to glorifying, Snow White or Cinderella. So that was the first difference that she made in my life. And of course, I went ahead to take part in the competition and I won. Okay. Drama baas to main bachpan se hi hu. So it's okay. I was good at the dialogues and all of that. So I still remember I was dressed in a very, shabby, warrior dress.
Warrior
absolutely different from the princess dresses. Right. And, when I won, that is when I realized that, not just is
fitting into the stereotype.
Not just fitting into stereotype, but being different is actually good. You can actually inspire. And then I heard, after that I heard that the school started actually encouraging young girls to actually dress up as important characters, like Savitri Bai Phule, or dress up as somebody like Jhansi ki Rani. So that is, a small way you kind of make that difference. And so this kind of projected in my life as well, where, I have taken very, non-stereotypical decisions in my life. Always. And I have been, most of the times, yes, I was, encouraged. Sometimes I was not. But yeah, the upbringing that I received also made me realize that, thank you so much. So that made me realize that, being different is being good.
Right.
And also the fact that be true to yourself. That is something which I project till date in my life. So yeah,
right. I have a very similar story about even a fancy dress competition. So
right.
when I was in, I guess first or second grade,
right.
even we had a fancy dress competition in our school, and the topic for a fancy dress was fairy tales.
Right.
And all of my friends were dressing up as Snow White, Cinderella, and all the princesses.
Yeah.
And my mom made me go as a witch from the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Because even she has a backstory, and not when you say fairy tales and when you say princesses, not all princesses or not all people. I mean, again, fitting into the stereotype.
Absolutely, that is brilliant. Actually,
yes,
dressing up as a witch.
I had worn this very ugly makeup and all this very scary makeup and this wig, and then but even though I mean you won, that is a good thing, but I didn't.
But see, winning ultimately, and it's also a very relative terminology, right? Were you confident about what you were doing?
Yes,
did it bring out the best in you? That is all that you need, right? Like that's all that you ultimately at the end of the day you require.
Right.
So even these small things, of course, when you're a child, winning is kind of a little important, but ultimately down the line you realize that it's not just what do you get a trophy, right? Rather than that, what would be more important? It's the confidence that you get.
Exactly.
When you dressed up like that, you must have felt so empowered, didn't you?
I did. Even though I didn't look that pretty, but I felt very empowered, like you said, because I was looking. I mean, I was very different from I was looking very different from everyone else. Right. Everyone had the same costume.
Absolutely.
I was standing out in everyone.
That must have made you feel amazing,
exactly.
right? Yeah. So that's the same thing with me.
Yes. So now talking about your famous singing sessions.
Oh my God.
You're well known for your music sessions at Ideation or CCD.
Okay.
So when and how did it all begin?
Right. Okay. So finally I come to something a little more closer to my heart. Okay. So music for me has been, it's not been a choice for me ever. It's been a necessity. Okay. Since I was born. My father is not trained in music, but he has a very nice voice. So what my dad used to do is, when he used to tuck me to sleep, so that was the time when I used to have with my father. The roles were divided between my parents. So that was the kind of, role that my father had, is to put me to sleep, okay?
Right.
So he would actually sing these very beautiful, melodious Robindra Sangeet and tuck me to bed, okay? And, with time, my parents realized that, when he used to sing, I used to obviously try and follow him, hum along with him. That's when my dad realized that my daughter has a musical acumen, okay? So what he would do is like, he would sing one line. I was approximately 2 or 3 years old, like at that time. So
pretty young.
yeah, very, very young. So, my dad says that, I used to sing one line,
Right.
and then you would sing the other line, okay?
Okay.
You would
Like a
sing the
duet.
other line, yeah. Probably the lyrics were not right, but the sur was absolutely like, that's what he said, it was immaculate, apparently. So then what happened is my parents realized that our daughter has a musical acumen. She's probably God gifted. So they put me into like this, initially they put me into this Robindra Sangeet classes, music classes, and I started getting my talim from the age of 5. I was the youngest student in the class. So I also had a lot of interesting incidences over there, and that's how the journey started of music, and I have never looked back ever since, because that's also given me a very big, it's also been very important in my life to give me the confidence of being at a spotlight, because I
Right.
started performing at a very young age, okay? From the age of 6, I've been into competitions and stuff. So, like, stage fright was
Stage
never a
fright.
thing I ever had. In fact, I love the spotlight on me. I just love it. Like, if the spotlight goes on me, it's like those 2-3 minutes are just mine, okay? Nobody is like sharing that spotlight with me. It's just mine. So I can shine, I can do whatever I want, I can bring out the best in me. So I never shy away from that. In fact, I love it. And when I came here, I came and gave the audition for the music club here, and I met some amazing people in the music club. They are basically my second family here, and you'll always see me hanging out with most of them. So what happened is I met these amazingly like-minded people, and what happened is. It's just, sometimes life gives you people with whom you resonate in such a way that, there's no looking back. Right. So, I met such amazing people. And, of course, the music club of IISERB Bhopal is, insanely talented. Like, insane talent we have in our, music club. And that started progressing. And during, as you mentioned that, you've heard us sing in the ideation and all of that, CCD, that basically came from the lockdown, actually, if I would tell you this, because, during the lockdown, we were all stuck in the campus, okay?
Right.
We couldn't really get out. It was a very mentally detrimental time for the rest of the people, but for us, we were actually in bliss, because what we would do is that every Sunday, we would sit outside CCD, and we would all bring out, like, we had instruments, all vocalists, everybody would sing. We were like around, 10 people all getting together, and we would start singing.
Wonderful.
And it was so popular that, people who are not even, they don't even know how to sing, but they would definitely join. There were faculties who used to come and join us. So it was very, very encouraging, very uplifting, very liberating, all of that. And basically that got us not just, not just got us happy and, mentally in a good space, that also helped us evolve as musicians, because we attempted songs which we didn't even think we could, difficult songs, very, intricate songs we attempted, and we didn't even think that we could, but, we did it. And that has basically now, projected, and you'll always see us, probably trying to carry that legacy forward and sing anywhere. We don't need an audience, neither do we need any kind of, we're not scared. We'll start anywhere.
The first introduction that I've had of yours is the way people introduced me to you.
my
Is
God.
that you must have heard us sing at ideation, the one who sings at ideation.
Oh my God.
So that is how, that was my first, what can I say, first image of yours that I had.
Very humbled. I'm very humbled that people actually enjoy. But, as you say, music has no language, and, anyone can sing. It's just that. You should just enjoy, you should just resonate. That's all.
That's nice.
I do it because I have a good time. That's all.
You also have a very, you also have a very melodious voice.
Thank you.
I must say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So now, what has been your personal growth in the last 5 years, like during COVID, or you could say in the last 5 years, even at IISERB, or
Right.
so in the last 5 years?
Right, last 5 years. So I would actually, you brought out a thing of the COVID times. So, during the COVID time, the first lockdown that happened, we were all at home. Obviously, all of us were stuck at home. what generally people thought was that, during that time you can actually do nothing, no research, nothing can happen, right? I actually proved that wrong. Not just I, but there were many, not just me, there were a lot of other people as well, who proved that wrong, because I actually published a paper during the lockdown. I wrote it. It was not just written. I mean, it's not like it was, written beforehand. I wrote it during the lockdown. I communicated it during the lockdown, and I also, published it during the lockdown. So it's basically, you can do a lot of things when you have a lot of time to yourself, right? You can have a very beautiful, trend of self-growth. You can explore so many things, so many options in academics, in what you want to actually pursue in life thereafter. So that's exactly what I did during my COVID time. So how I have evolved is the fact that, I got a lot of time to think about what I want to do in life. And it actually made me realize that, PhD is not really your life. It's a part of your life, You should never give something so much importance that it starts to rule you. You should give it, as much importance that, a small portion of anything significant would have in your life, but not something that completely controls you. So that I realized, being with family is important, giving time to them is. I've never lived so long with my family, Since I've left home, I've never been with my family for so long, yeah. So that was also, initially it was a little disturbing, of course, because, we're all adults. We don't really like to be conforming. Yeah. But then you also get used to, you get so much time with your family. You get to think of a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically how I've evolved.
All right. And even your academic growth, you have published many papers. You even attended an AGU conference in US. So that happened. Like initially, as I said that, initially I was like a baby technically when I came. The hierarchy of academicians, I was a baby. Staying here, I've also understood, like, not just have I, the publishing is the last stage, that is like the final culmination. But what happens is when you start understanding that people are appreciating your work, you're actually making a significant difference in the field of science, is when you start realizing that, okay, maybe I'm doing something right, maybe I'm doing something right. You get that appreciation. And yes, you mentioned AGU. AGU is the American Geophysical Conference, one of the most, prestigious conferences in our field. So I had written an abstract for that conference, and I got an international grant for going there. International grant you get according to the abstract that you've written. So the abstract that kind of gave me a further boost, because it made me realize that, okay, oh my God, like the work that I'm doing is actually being understood, appreciated by an international audience, So that is something which is very, very, uplifting, very uplifting. So that growth has definitely happened. And that is why that further, brings that confidence in you, that you can tackle any research problem in future. Right.
So yeah, definitely.
So when you were a TA in your PhD, while you were doing PhD, so we blame TAs for not giving enough marks to the students. Right. So what is your take on this?
Oh my God, yeah. So the thing is, now you have to realize that I've seen both sides of the coin, okay? Right. I've been on the side of the students and I've been on this side as well. Okay, so first of all, of course, being a student, when I was taking, in fact, my coursework, I was a student, right? So, of course, we understand, where the judgment of giving marks come from, like how teachers probably, gauge you, or how they're, marking you. And since there is this thing of relative grading here, it makes a lot of difference. It actually helps you, because in my college, in Pune University or Calcutta University, there was nothing called relative grading, right? It's absolute. So here that actually helped a lot, because, relative grading helped us a lot. But, being a TA, coming on the other side, what happens is, you actually realize why I did not get those marks. Because, it's like karma right there in front of you, like, oh my God, how do I mark the student? How do I give marks to the student? Of course, there are, like, really most of the students were very good, but there are certain amazing students who come and write whatever they want, whatever. They have a great, I should applaud their sense of creativity, But it's just that your creativity cannot always be rewarded with marks, right? So that is something which I feel is has been my experience. Students have been very creative in their answers. They have been...
Could you share some of the answers that the students have written, or the funniest answers that you have read?
Okay, Yeah, so basically, there was this one, I think I remember this one question which was about the Morse scale of hardness, okay?
Right.
So there's like written that please, categorize them according to the Morse scale of hardness. So somebody had written that all stones or all rocks are hard. Something like this. And they actually expected that we will give them part marking. So I was like, I actually was like, I didn't know what to say. So I was like, you tell me how much I should give you. No, you tell me. Like, how much do you think you deserve in this? That was one. Then there were, of course, there are these amazing candidates who think that, if they get the end answer correct, and everything, the governing equations all wrong, the assumption and everything, all the equations wrong, and the last answer, the end answer is correct. They think that they deserve the entirety of the full marks. So that is something where, as I said, people have a lot of confidence. Sometimes it borders on overconfidence. That is what I see in students. But of course, I mean, it's also, as a TA, it's also your responsibility to explain to them that why, that's also your responsibility. You should not just mock them or, of course, it's also your responsibility to explain to them that why what you should have written and, what you should write in future to basically deserve some kind of marks. And marks ultimately don't gauge your knowledge. If you know the answer, that's completely fine. So ultimately the aim should be that, some people are not very good with articulation. That's okay. That's when TAs come into picture and they, explain, okay, did you understand? Did you understand the concepts? It's okay if you couldn't produce it in the, this particular exam. You could produce it in the next examination. That's okay. Marks should not be the ultimate thing. Of course, it's important because you're in an IISER. And you need you're one of the premier institutes of the country. So, of course, you need to concentrate on examinations. But it's not everything as well. I mean, concentrate on the concepts rather. That's what I would say.
So also you got married in December.
Yes.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you so much.
So you have been here, you have been staying in Bhopal. So
yeah.
how has it been like in your personal life? Like how has it been difficult staying? Has it been difficult like these last 5 years?
It's been very difficult. It's been very difficult. See, people, let me first tell you this. People who glorify the concept of long distance relationship, let me tell you that it is not something to be glorified because it is extremely, extremely difficult. It's one of the most, trying times of your life. And I feel that people who actually succeed in something like that should be well applauded because it's very difficult. So my husband, who was my boyfriend before this, we met in Pune University. We were together for physically together for 2 years. So we used to meet regularly. But the thing is, he's such a compassionate and such a good human being that I never had a second choice. Like I never thought I need anyone else in my life because I was always very content. And it's a rarity meeting men who are bigger feminists than I am and also believe in equal rights, and they're just so empathetic and compassionate. So that is something that is very profound in my husband. And I got married in December. It was I was meeting my husband after 2 years because in the lockdown I couldn't meet him. I was meeting him after 2 years and directly during the wedding.
During the wedding?
Yes.
Directly? Oh
directly during the wedding. So I got all the stereotypical things that brides get, cold feet, tantrum throwing, everything I've done, literally, trust me. But ultimately, of course, I never had a doubt of not marrying him. We did end up getting married. I'm finishing up with my thesis. Post this, I'm trying for postdoc opportunities in Europe where he is currently residing in. So it is very difficult to, the 5 years have been tough, but especially the last 2 years have been supremely tough because during the pandemic, it gets really difficult. Initially, he was in ISC, so we would at least meet up, once a month. Either I would go to Bangalore, he would come here. He's come here a lot of times. So it was nice. But, he's completely opposite of me. So, I am a very extroverted person, very dramatic. He's that complete quiet kind. So, opposites attract. So, he's totally opposite that way. But, he understands the fact that I like a lot of drama in my life. So he completely in fact, I would like to tell you something. You know what? Certain people, he collaborated with a few friends of mine and he came down here before this Roka ceremony of ours and he proposed me right here. You're right here. right here. He actually got banners and everything, you know. He collaborated with my friends because they know what a drama baz I am. He actually got banners and everything, and he got down on one knee and, you know, proposed to me. He wrote a nice poetry for me, and he actually asked me to marry him that way.
That is really
because he knows that I like drama. So yeah.
That is really sweet.
Yeah.
So at the end, I want to have this fun segment where I'll name a few places on the campus.
Okay.
And you have to tell me about your first memory or your most memorable memory at that place.
Right.
Alright. What about CCD?
Oh, CCD is my saving grace. Like, because I am a huge coffee person.
Lover.
I'm a huge coffee lover. So the point is, CCD basically was a place where it's like everything for me, you know. Place to get coffee. I sit with my laptop. I work there. So it's like an entirety. It's a complete package. So yeah, CCD was, when CCD opened here, I was like, okay, good. It at least resolves my issue of treating people probably. I'm like, okay, and you can take friends out here and, you know, treat them or get treats from them and, you know, like, yeah, have a place to, an air-conditioned place to chill. Yeah.
Have you celebrated any birthdays here?
Yeah, loads of them. Yeah, loads of them. Yeah.
And what about your academic office? Like, what was your first impression of it?
My academic office as in lab? Do you mean lab?
Yeah, you got the lab or the place where you work or...
Right. Yeah, the place where I work, it was, you know, it's not an experimental lab. It's basically, it's a numerical modeling lab, and yeah, there are basically PCs and everything. It was nice to have your own system, you know, when you entered. So that was nice. Your own place to work. That was nice. So yeah, it was something which was... I would say initiation, like something exciting.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Then what about library?
Library is my place of peace. It's my place of peace. It is where, it's my you know, sanctuary, I would say, literally, because it's a place where you can completely listen to music. Just put on your headphones or earphones, work on your laptop, read a book, do whatever you want, and it's quiet. You know, everyone is, and also, you know, it makes a difference when everybody, you know, in a room everyone is studying or working. That kind of also pushes you, you know, you call it the peer pressure or whatever, but you know, it also pushes you to do the same and be productive. So it's my place of sanctuary. The library is my place of sanctuary, definitely.
Yes. I could relate to that.
Yeah.
And then you talked about music. So what about music room?
The music room is my temple. Is my temple, because the temple, okay, like basically my place of worship. I shouldn't call it a temple, but it's my place of worship. So because I feel that art, any form, is basically very divine, and I'm a very spiritual person, so I feel that I connect with any sort of cultural arts. So music for me is that, and I feel it is divine. So for me, it's my place of worship. Yeah. Definitely.
And what about the Hillside?
Okay, the Hillside is actually our own version of a natural reserve or something, because there are too many wildlifes there. And wildlife in human form as well as reptile form or animal form or whatever. But yeah, it's like our own sort of natural habitat for the proliferation of a lot of species. So that is what I feel, and that's what I feel. But no, it's beautiful. Actually, I would like to tell you one thing. The Hillside is also one of the places where I did my survey, my research, and my second international paper is based on the research I did on the hill. So
that is pretty impressive.
I would like to tell you that I have conducted surveys, with my work, with my technique, with the technique that I am actually working on. We've conducted surveys on the hill, and I have actually a research paper based on that. So yeah, it's given me an international research paper as well. So yeah, definitely. Yay.
And so ending with this question, what's next? You'll be completing your PhD.
Yeah.
And after this, where will you go? What is your plan next?
So I am predominantly applying for postdoc positions in Europe. Europe, the reason being, my husband is in Europe currently. And as I said, the long distance is getting too much to us right now. It's high time that we spend some time with each other. And, also being newlyweds, we've hardly spent a month with each other. So I would like some time for this relationship to thrive. And, this new phase of our relationship to thrive, actually. It has thrived so far, but, it's a new phase of our life. And I would like to probably dedicate a month at least being with my husband post this. I definitely need a break post my PhD. So that's something that I'm looking up to. Also, I'm applying for postdoc positions predominantly in Europe, because that way, the transport within Europe is easier. So even if I'm not, he's in Barcelona currently, so even if I can't, even if I don't get a position in Spain, it's all right, because we could still travel throughout the week, in the weekend. So, which is fine. And I'm actually excited about the next phase of my life. It's exciting, it's scary, but it's exciting.
It'll be good.
Hopefully.
You survived these last 5 years.
Yeah.
You survive the next.
Hopefully, yeah.
Alright, I guess that's all that I had to ask. So, thank you for the interview.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for this interview.
It was a pleasure. It was so nice actually interacting with you on such a nice, on such a nice day, and the weather is also really nice, thankfully, right now. So yeah.
Hopefully, this gave you a good recap of your last 5 years.
Oh, it was a complete, roller coaster down memory lane. I actually thought of so many things. Thank you actually for this interview. It actually brought back a lot of good memories.
Most welcome.
मोहब्बत करने वालों का है बस इतना ही अफसाना तड़प